Hello everybody and welcome to the Tardis Zone, and this is the Tardis Zone Talks, and today we are going to talk about our favourite TV shows when we were growing up, and I will have Christian with me pretty soon, but Darren is at the sending me a chat there and saying sent you 70s, 80s, 90s kids TV playlist link your Twitter messages. Thank you. And we got a Facebook user saying tonight it's 11 a.m. in Texas. Welcome. If you want to tell us your name, because if you're obviously commenting on Facebook, it's going to come up Facebook user. So if you want to tell me who you are, that'll be absolutely fantastic. So we'll put that up there. Look, it says Facebook user. We got Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the chat, says ahoy there, soldiers. Welcome. And hello from Texas. And it's Kim all the way from Texas. And we have our co-host who's just at the popping in. So without further ado, we'll bring him in. It's Christian from the Legend of the Traveling Tardis.
Here I am.
You see reviews in the chat as well. So guys, get your suggestions, get your favorite TV shows in to us. Let us know what they are, whether it's TV shows you grew up with as a kid, or grew up with a teenager, or even you can even talk about shows today if there are any shows today, but let's try keep it as classic as possible if we can.
Classy or classic?
Well, it's up to yourself. I mean, you could start if you want to start off with one of your favorite TV shows growing up. And by the way, folks, it doesn't necessarily have to be sci-fi, right? It could be any TV show out there. Like, for example, when I grew up as a kid, one of my favorite shows growing up was Little House on the Prairie. I'm not going to lie. Loved it. Highway to Heaven was another one, wasn't it? Wasn't that what it was called? Yeah, Highway to Heaven.
Highway to Heaven, and I think
you used to watch that as well. The Waltons used to watch that as well. And what was Heidi as well? That was on Channel 4 for UK viewers and Irish viewers. But Christian, what was yours? As I said, I'll throw up these are comments, folks, on screen. And when we get a bit of a break from when Christian tells us his first TV show, then we'll read out your comments then. But Christian, you could start that. Well, I suppose I already started off with Little House and stuff like that. So give us some of your favorite TV shows growing up, and why, actually.
Well, I want to say hi to Kim, JCW Reviews, and Kim, if that's your name there. Make sure that you change your Facebook settings so it allows StreamYard. Otherwise, you're going to come up as Facebook user. Yeah, we've learned the hard way on that one. So,
is that what you do?
That's what. Yeah, it's a settings issue, and it's Facebook. You just have to go into your settings, and then it says allow, and then you click on StreamYard, and then your name pops up with your profile picture. So just. Yeah, we come across that quite a few times there. No worries. If that's your name, Kim, and I apologize, but hello from Texas. I'm in Florida. Hello, Darren. Hello, Cinnamon Toast, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And it's ironic that you say those TV shows because it's you were watching more American shows.
Yeah, The Wonder Years was another one I forgot to mention as well.
Wonder Years, Little House on the Prairie.
Wonder Years, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned on this show, but I mentioned a lot on my show. It's I grew up as a creature of PBS. So as my education started to develop, my first classic shows were not from here. I meant my parents let me on to PBS because it was the easy babysitter. It was Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, 321 Contact, Electric Company, where actually I think Morgan Freeman got his start from there, if you can believe it or not. He was on a kids' TV show, where he started in a PBS show called Electric Company. But my parents left the TV on, and I got to know other shows like Dave Allen at Large, The Two Ronnies, Monty Python, The Benny Hill Show, and I think shows that I should have not been watching at that age. But that's where I got my sense of humor from, and that's where I think I got good TV from. So, yeah, hey, you guys, Electric Company. Yes, I can hear that in my head, Kim. It's really strange. But yeah, those were the shows I grew up. Now, I grew up as a kid too. We were watching Transformers, Cobots, if you remember anything, G.I. Joe, all those Saturday afternoon cartoons, the Thunderbirds and stuff. But when we were talking about, you were talking to me about classic TV shows, I said, wow, God, that encyclopedia opens. Which decade are we hitting with? So I hit with what I can remember way back when, Dungeons and Dragons animated. Yeah, that's good. Better than any of the movies that's ever come out. And I don't think the Dungeons and Dragons lasted too long. It was no problems. Kim, good luck to you.
I heard good things about the recent Dungeons and Dragons movie. A lot of people were saying that it was actually decent. They didn't expect it to be as good as it turned out to be. I haven't watched it, so I can't actually judge. I'm only going by people that we kind of know and we know are reliable about these sort of things. And they were praising the movie. So, I mean, it must be decent if they're praising it because, there's a lot of negativity out there. Chris Pine, isn't it? Yeah. And we had a few suggestions there. So, obviously, Dungeons and Dragons. We also had Daktari, Dr. Quinn. I remember Dr. Quinn. And we had Dark Shadows. It was from the 60s. The Tomorrow People, obviously. And they remade the Tomorrow People, didn't they? And absolutely destroy it, but we won't get into that.
Oh God, if we're going that
and
route,
then obviously Cinnamon Dungeons and Dragons, the animated series. Talking about animations, obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a big one for us growing up. He-Man. What else did we have? We had what else did we have here? Actually, there was this cartoon years ago that I grew up watching as a kid. People will remember this if you're from the UK and Ireland. Super Ted, about the teddy bear, and Spotty Man comes down from his spaceship and sprinkles moon dust on him, and the teddy bear comes to life and he becomes Super Ted. It was like a rip-off of Superman, but with a teddy bear. It was actually very good. No, seriously, it was very good.
No, I bet you if I saw it, it would be probably like, oh, that's what that was all about. And kudos to that. But when you explain it,
like, different strokes. Yeah, facts of life. Cheryl, listen, right? You aren't going to believe this. Last year, she went on a whole binge of Facts of Life. That feckin' theme tune is stuck in my head forever, man. And Rise and Damp, watch that one. One Foot in the Grave, Keeping Up Appearances, obviously Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, I'm looking at Bobby A.D.'s Land of the Lost, and not that crappy movie that Will
Ferrell.
I just want to throw like a large, heavy object at him.
I don't know. Will Ferrell is funny, though. It's just a pity that he's in a lot of shit. I'm going to be honest. I think
he's taking a formula that works for him. And unfortunately, he's running it into the ground because I saw my Chrissy is a big fan of his, and especially when I think he's what's that guy he always hangs out with the curly hair? I think it's Ginty or something. I can't remember that.
Yeah.
But they did that movie. They did that Sherlock and Holmes movie, and I was just like ready to run out the door. And people are asking me because I was the only one who saw it because Chrissy wanted to see it, and I was like, yeah, if you like Will Ferrell and I'll try to find the name, but if you like Will Ferrell and that other guy, yes, this is a great movie for you. If you like Sherlock Holmes, do not watch this movie whatsoever. Stay away from it. It doesn't even do justice to it. I mean, if I wanted to see the parody, I think Michael Caine and Ben Kingsley did a parody one, and that's the best one I can think of so far out there. as far as different strokes, facts of like, yeah, this is what the decade do you want to start with? Because if it going back to, I grew up with the PBS shows, but also my shows, Dukes of Hazzard, the A Team, were big in
Oh
my
yeah, we
time.
grew up with the A Team and Knight Rider, and
Knight
yeah,
Rider, yeah.
we grew up with all of that as well. I'm trying to go in. I'm trying to go into this link that Bradley sent me, but every time I press into it, it's sending me to Odyssey. So I don't know what's going on there. But I'm trying to access this. I think it's a list of TV shows and stuff. But when I click into it, it's sending me to Odyssey all the time, and I don't know why.
Mm,
Um,
don't worry about it.
oh, there it is. It does go to Odyssey, but like, it's a video, and I can't show a video.
Listen, when we're talking about our big classic shows, so I'm in House MD, I guess, for things that were off the air. I'm in one of my favorite shows of all time. Besides, the current Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, and all those guys, was MASH. MASH ran
Oh,
longer than the actual Korean War, so I was like,
okay. I think I know what he's doing
that,
there.
that's a fact. It's just like
I
that show
think he's
ran.
sending. I think he's sending me a link to put in the chat. I think I'm not sure, but I'll do it anyway. I don't know
Okay.
what's going on here, folks. I thought it was a list of some sort, but there's some. I think there's what he's trying to tell me is there's a stream on, and someone is going to be covering 60s, 70s, 80s
Oh, okay.
TV shows and stuff like that. So I'll put the link in. I don't know if that works, but that's the link that it's gave me there. So
Okay.
you can check it out. Goes to Odyssey. I'm not honest, so I wouldn't know. Um, what's this? I think there's 4 volumes each with a few episodes. Banana Man. When Eric eats a banana, he becomes Banana Man. That was a great bleeding show as well, man. That was a cracking little show. That was only on, what was it, for 5 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Each episode. It wasn't even on for that long, Banana Man. It was great, it was. Yeah, I remember that, man.
You guys, again, from the UK, from Nickelodeon, of all places, Danger Mouse and Count Duckula.
Oh yeah,
And I
watched
think
that. I
that's
watched.
Jason David did both of those voices, right? Am I correct on that?
I think so. Yeah, Danger Mouse. I definitely watched. Animaniacs was another one.
I think the most funniest thing in a cartoon, the most funniest thing I'm thinking, is that there was a bomb and no, there was a trap for Penfold is hypnotized. And he keeps saying to Danger Mouse, "I'm not supposed to tell you it's a trap." And he keeps going, "Okay, well, don't tell me it's a trap." And he's like, "No, I'm not supposed to tell you it's a trap." And he goes, "Well, shut up then. Don't tell me." It's like,
Isn't it
oh
so?
my god.
It's Sword David Jason now, isn't it? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Does he use the sword? I don't think he really likes being called Sword David Jason, but he's a legend, man. Obviously, I first start watching him on Only Fools and Horses, but I've watched almost everything that he's been in. He is one of those British actors icons that will be remembered for a long, long time. He's a legend in my opinion. Um, and some of the shows that he done years ago would never be made today. That's the sad thing. So he lived in an era where people were a lot freer with their comedy and were able to express themselves. Now everybody has to watch what they say because you upset someone. Jamie Knight says, my parents used to make me watch the Sullivans on a Sunday. Don't remember anything about it. Did anyone like it? I think I vaguely remember the Sullivans. But do you know what I did watch? Bread. Just remember Bread on BBC One. It was a big, huge show on BBC One. Everybody used to sit down. Was it every Saturday night? Because, when BBC and ITV ruled the TV on the weekends, we got some great shows. And Bread was one of those. That was a cracking show. And Hello, Hello, obviously. Have you seen Hello, Hello, Christian,
I think
actually?
I've seen 1 or 2 episodes, but I gotta I gotta say with Jamie, it's like there are certain shows you can give me the title and I can spot out the title. I mean, like Are You Being Served? I remember that series,
Yeah,
but God forbid I can remember like an episode. I just remember it was fun when I was growing up watching
yeah.
that series. It was totally cool.
Let me see. Bobby says, "Mama's Family. You can't do that on television."
Oh God,
Uh,
I don't know.
and then you had, yep, bread and porridge. Yeah, I used to love porridge as well, man. But bread, everybody loved bread, man. Seriously, that show was cracking. But you watch that show now, because I recently watched a couple of episodes, right, just to see
hmm
that they wouldn't get away again. That TV show would not be made today, and that's the sad thing about it. It's like comedy has been suppressed. That BBC are even afraid to make decent comedies that are even. Do you remember they never gave a crap about making a controversial comedy, right? Because the audience knew it was supposed to,
There's a
it
big
wasn't supposed to
difference.
be taken seriously. You know what I mean?
Well, there was
Whereas
a
today it's completely different. The mindset. It's like everybody just seems to be upset about something, or wants to be upset about something. So it's like everybody and comedians are walking on eggshells so they don't offend people. As soon as you do that, that's it. Comedy is dead. You got to let these comedians express themselves. And some of
well,
these shows that
I
BBC made. Go ahead, go on, Christian.
well,
Sorry.
no, it's just that's why I appreciated. Like, do you think a Dave Allen or Benny Hill would make it today? There is
Oh
no way in
no,
hell.
Benny Hill.
I mean, my God, how often does John Cleese get railroaded by social media every time? And
Sure,
just
there's
like, dude, he was the pioneer of the stuff that you couldn't say, so that you would be able to say the stuff that you could say to him.
yeah.
He was the
It
pioneer of this.
it's the same with Roy Chubby Brown. Now I don't like Roy Chubby Brown's brand of comedy because it is crass, and it is designed to be that way, right?
Mhm.
But the cancel mob tried to cancel him, like, you know what I mean? And Roy Chubby Brown wouldn't be Roy Chubby Brown if he had to watch what he was saying, right? And what
Mhm.
people forget is like, he says all of these things as a joke. So some of his jokes would be considered sexist today. But
But
what they don't get
that
is he's being a comedian. He's being deliberately funny. Like, it's not that he has. See, this is the problem. They think that because someone jokes about something or something, they must have those views,
mhm.
and that's not
Well, I
always
didn't
the
grow up.
case.
I'm sorry, I do kind of find it really interesting. I didn't grow up with any shows that had trigger warning,
No,
because like you watched it, and if you didn't like it, you change the channel. If you don't like what you see in a post, you scroll past it. But people, uh, there was somebody who said, you know what, they actually need, if schools would get their act together, there actually needs to be a class in schools where they teach you, or at least at home, like something where you can't use social media until a certain age. I'm getting to that point where it's like you need to have some kind of maturity. It's just like doing anything of an adult nature. I think social media should be on there. It should be on, like, driving a car or stuff like that. You can operate this when you understand what you're getting into, but some people don't, and they don't know how to react, and they don't know what to say, and they just, put their foot in it. And
schools shouldn't be allowed, though. I've always said this when this started happening. In our day, we wouldn't have been allowed any. Right, obviously, we didn't have any devices, but if we had them in our time, we would not have been allowed to bring a phone into
oh,
school.
we've
Or
gone
if we
straight
did
into the
bring the
desk.
phone into school, it would have been confiscated until the end of school.
Right.
Now, I've actually seen a video there only recently of a student pepper spraying their teacher because the teacher wanted to take the phone off the student, because obviously the student wasn't paying attention, and they said, well, that's it, give me your phone, and got pepper spray in the eye for it. The schools all around the world, you shouldn't be they've got computers in schools now anyway. They shouldn't be bringing their phones to school. And this bullshit excuse, well, some kids need to ring their parents. Listen, the parents know when they get off school every fucking time. Okay? There is no excuse. All right? And if they're 15 minutes late, whatever, you hang around, you fucking wait for them. End the bleeding story. That's what parents do. All
But
right?
I don't understand where to ever
Voices
be in
in
a
school.
situation unless it's very dire that the parents need to get a hold of the kids while they're learning something.
But hang on.
Or couldn't wait until in
Well,
between.
hang
You
on,
go to your
no.
locker and
That
check your
excuse
phone.
doesn't wash with me either. Because schools have telephone numbers. Schools literally have a fucking secretary with telephones.
That's a good point. That's a very
right.
good point.
You ring the school. If there's an emergency, you ring the school. Listen, someone in the family's at the dropping dead. I need my daughter or my son to fucking come home. So tell them I need them to come home. Bang, end the story, man. There's no excuse for any tablets or any fucking mobile devices in school. No wonder the kids are stupid nowadays. Right, seen a video earlier on. Right, a bloke has gone around showing a picture of Abraham Lincoln to these people that are in college. Right, and he goes around and asks them who this person is. Not one of them knew who Abraham Lincoln was. And these are the next generation that are apparently going to be the people that are going to be,
the scary part, they could look it up on their cell phone.
It's just so dumb. No, but it's dumb. I mean, yeah, come on, I'm Irish. And I even know who Abraham Lincoln is. I know what Pearl Harbor is.
No, I get
that's
your
another
point.
one. They asked him what Pearl Harbor was. Is it a bridge?
Yes. Just no.
You know what I mean? The dumbness.
You see these YouTube videos where they're going around to the universities and they ask them how many states there are. You know, how many people are, represent us in the Senate? What are the 3 different types of government? And they're just like, wow, what did you learn? The big, and they were joking. It was just like, one of the things that they need to learn is how to balance a checkbook. That should be math. If you have $50 in the bank,
that's what they should be teaching them. They should be teaching them things that are essential. That's going to get them by in life, not fecking all this other nonsense that they want to teach in schools. They don't even know basic geography either, which is fucking quite shocking. If it's the way I see it is this, right? And Cheryl agrees because she's American, right? If America just basically thinks it's just there and everybody else doesn't exist, right? So when it comes to geography, they're actually just pretty bad. They couldn't tell you where a country is on the map because they're so self-absorbed that America, and it is true, right? They have literally no basic geography, right? They're fucked. And these are the future rulers. They're the future rulers of the United States. They don't even know who fucking Abraham Lincoln is. Listen, when I was growing up in school, I'm Irish. I learned Irish history in school. It was the first thing, but not only Irish history. We learned American history and world history, right? That was drummed into us at a pretty young, early age, right? Learning these things. By the age of 7, I knew where every country was on the map, right? And I knew relatively enough about each country because obviously the teachers back then were actually teaching us properly. It's just sad. I don't want to get stuck on this, obviously, but
no, we're talking about
I'm
TV
just saying
shows,
we are talking about TV shows. But I just have to say the lack of fucking intelligence in this world today has just startled me. There are some stupid people on Twitter, especially. Oh my God, they are absolute dumb. And I've come across dumb people all my life, trust me. But these are the dumbest people. Like, oh my God, every woman is a bloke now, apparently, to some conspiracy theorists on Twitter telling you. Let's see here. They wouldn't even make gimme right now, says Jamie Noy. Pretty sure teacher just got stabbed over here, says Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I used to love Cell Block H as a kid, bit young for it, but it was great fun. Yeah, the things our parents used to let us watch by a student. Oh, for God's sake, another teacher might have been stabbed by a student, Cheryl.
Hey, Mark.
I don't know. Abraham Lincoln was in Star Trek, the
Yes, he
original
was.
series. He got killed. Yeah,
He got
I watched
sacrificed
the original.
again.
I
And
just
just
arrived. What TV shows did I miss? No, we're asking you guys in the chat to tell us what your favorite TV shows were growing up. Whether it's TV shows, whether it's TV shows when you grew up as a kid or a teenager or as an adult. You know, give us your suggestions and tell us why you like those TV shows. Yes, so that's what we're doing. So yeah, I saw that Abraham Lincoln zombie movie. That was pretty good. Years ago. Do you remember that movie? I actually liked it.
Yeah, I know. That was my guilty pleasure. I just
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why would you
Yeah.
why did you like it?
But it was good.
Yeah, for what it was worth, it was we already went in going like, not saying that one didn't have high expectations, but I wasn't walking in going in like, this is going to be Academy Award winner. I knew that this was what go about. They took a historical figure. They kind of rebranded everything. He was friends with his enemy. I can't remember his name, but he had a debate with him, and then his wife, and then they kind of made it similar to where you felt like there was this other storyline that was going with the real storyline, but this is what really Abraham Lincoln was. And by the way, there's this counter alternate line that you didn't know about. That's how I felt about going into the movie. And yeah, it was mindless fun. Yeah, but they did it in a historical premise where if you knew the history of Abe Lincoln and everything, it started to kind of like put together about his wife, about the guy who's his friend is, all that stuff. Who
very clever it was. And I have to say, I loved that the action sequences were deadly. The camera work was so good back there. Oh, I'm like you. That's a guilty pleasure for me. I really loved that movie when that movie first came out. I have to say, and to be honest, it wasn't received well. If we're being truthful about it, but I really did enjoy it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't. He was going after vampires, and it wasn't. The way that it was set up. They found a guy that looked really like him.
Yeah.
And they were going through the motions, and they basically gave you this, for a better term that I put it, this Rosencrantz and Guildenstern idea, this Tom Stoppard alternate storyline to kind of work in what goes on with his life. And here's the story that you didn't know about him, but he was really bad. The real Abraham Lincoln, if you know anything about him, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was a wrestler. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had 300 wrestling bouts. He lost one. Talk about badass during that time. Got a cameo in the Sea Devils and Coronation Street. You, Simon, or somebody else? Anyway, going back to TV shows, that I thought it was a good movie, but a lot of I'm curious about what TV shows would not have made the cut. We know that Dukes of Hazzard wouldn't make the cut. The A-Team wouldn't make anything that I grew up with on this side around the 80s would probably never have seen the light of day today. And that's a shame. What was it? Lenny Bruce, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said something to the fact that when you were talking about comedy, that every joke is a revolution. And then you had descendants like George Carlin, who came up with the 7 naughty words that we couldn't say. Now we can say them left and right, but it was pioneers like this who broke up the constraints of people who wanted to just impose their will on people. And you couldn't say this, couldn't say that. Now we try to say it, but now coming into 2023, now he can't say those things again. I'm just like, excuse me. What I say should not make you feel comfortable. What I say should be factual, and facts will not be comforting. It's not. We've never had a great history, but when you have people coming in here going on their Twitter feed, I'm paraphrasing whatever Bill Maher said. It's just basically people who tell us what they would have done back then, and they're always right. And I'm just like, I'm sorry if Thomas Jefferson couldn't go on his Twitter account and tell people what bad things were about that time. I dare you to have gone back there and say you would have done the same thing, right? Really? No, you would have lived your life the way it was. You would have ended up doing things the way you do. And you have the privilege of hindsight, living in this day where you don't have to fear this. Where these guys were not only fighting a war against rebelling against the government, they were trying to create one at the same time. None of these folks growing up would have ever had the bravery or the audacity to do something like that. They would just sit behind a keyboard and say their things. But you really want to make a change? Go out there and help a homeless person. Go out there and do some stuff. Practice what you preach. Get away from your phone. Get away from your tablet. And learn something and do something and become a better person. That's how you fight this. Anyway, back to TV shows. No.
Let's see. Mark has he couldn't think of anything else but Coronation Street. Whatever was on CITV after school. Yeah. That's if you can remember any. I mean, you can name a few. But what you call it? It's just something just threw me there. Sorry. I just seen the trailer for the new Wonka movie. And
they're making another? Why?
Yeah. There's no Charlie this time. Charlie has been replaced by a girl.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. I don't know who it is, but it's gonna cause a bit of it's the same old nonsense with Hollywood. Is the nice way I can put it. They just can't help themselves. This movie's gonna bomb. I saw the poster yesterday and I was a bit worried when I saw the poster. I saw the trailer now, and I can tell you I'm gonna stick with the Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp versions. They're the only two versions, and obviously if you read the books, but they can forget about that movie. To be honest with you, a prequel it is it? All right, don't give a crap, man. Don't care. I really don't. Your man even quotes a Gene Wilder line in the trailer, and I look, I'll give it a go, but right now, no. But back to TV shows though, because that was my fault. But there was one on BBC years ago called The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Do you remember that, folks? That was a great show. So it was basically what was Aslan, isn't it? The Lion and the Wardrobe and all that. BBC did a production of that years ago. That was fucking great. I grew up with that. But what was the great? Some of you are old enough maybe to remember. My memory is bad. And if you can tell me the name of this TV show, I'm going to try find it because I've been trying to find it for years. But there's this show that I remember watching years ago of these kids that found this creature that burrowed under the ground, and he'd come up from under the ground and he'd grant them 3 wishes or something like that. But the wishes would go wrong all the time or something would happen. If people can remember by that description what TV show I'm talking about, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you could name it for me, because I've been looking for that show for years, because it was another one that I think BBC did as well that was absolutely fantastic. Jamie says, though, I like Depp, but didn't like his Nancy MJ take on Wonka. I didn't mind. It was a different take. That was the whole point of it. Maybe it's just a guess because Wonka looks young. Could be. Jamie says, I feckin' love Narnia on BBC and the creepy cartoon as well. BBC Aslan looks cute. Was it 5 kids? What was it called? The salamander. I don't know.
Narnia, yes,
Hold
Tom
on. No.
Baker was in it.
What was the Tom Baker one? Narnia. Yes, Tom Baker was in it. Yeah.
No, now I got to see it.
And then we had the remake or something. They called it Four Kids and It. That's the one. Four Kids and It. That was the one. Yeah, the little hair. Hold on. I'm gonna Four Kids and It. I bet you it is. Scruffy little bastard looking thing. Let me see. No, what's this, man? What's this 2020 fucking bollocks? No, man, it was in the 80s, 90s. No, I'm confused now. No. That's not it, man. It is it, but I mean, it's not it. It was called Five Children and It. And the first episode is on BBC, is on YouTube. And it was brought out in 1991. This is the one. This is the one. I found it. I fucking found it. Oh my god.
Is it nice?
I found it. Who told me that? Who told me that? It was unknown. Well done, unknown. Thank you. You're a legend. Have it. I fucking found it after all these years. Man, you should watch it. It's an interesting thing.
I'll give it a shot, but here's something that I think is funny that I mentioned. A friend of mine, way back when, I forget what year it was. It was like, I think it was like maybe in the 90s. The three big networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, all three of them ran their own versions of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I think one was Michael Caine, I think one was Ben Cross, and I think there was another. And they all three ran their different versions. And I was like, oh, God. Michael Caine was Captain Nemo. But that actually was didn't do too well because they went into some weird territory with that one. The other thing was, a friend of mine loaned me his VHS tape. Yep, kids, look that up. So I could watch the Michael Caine version. And lo and behold, if anybody knows VHS tapes, is you put it in your machine, you record it, and then you recorded it for as long as you wanted to. However, I didn't realize after the show had ended, the actual show went on the VHS tape, another show came up behind it. And it was some of the funniest stuff I had ever seen in a long time. The problem is he recorded over it, so I never got to know what the show was. And there was no internet at this time. There was no Google search. So I didn't even know where to find this, and not only that, but he kept recording over it. So I only got to see portions of this episode. And I was like, I'm going to find this one day. And then years later, when now we can do searches and stuff like that, I found it. And I was so happy that this series had continued for quite some time. In fact, technically, it's still running on. The episode was called Crichton that I was watching. It is Red Dwarf. But the idiot recorded over portions of it. But I got to see the dog's milk scene and the scene where they meet the girls for the first time. And those scenes from it brought me into Red Dwarf. Those two little scenes, just seeing those broken up on a VHS tape, I was like, I gotta find this TV show. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a VHS.
By the way, for all you younger generation out there, this is what we used to watch movies on. This is a VHS player, and I'll show you what a tape looks like. But they're looking for 111 quid for this. Wow.
It belongs in a museum.
Do you know what? I'd buy one. No, man, the smell that comes from them. Look at that. There's an up close. Oh, I used to love them. The forehead.
I was the only one that had the smell.
Do you remember the forehead? Then you had the high-speed rewind system one. Yeah, when that came out, I remember that. Everybody then bought the high-speed one. Oh, the memories. The memories.
The Height, the Blockbuster, and Be Kind Rewind.
Hold on, I'll show you the tapes now.
Oh
I'll
my
show you what we
God.
used to record our stuff on, because this, yeah, you haven't got a clue. You haven't got a clue. Here,
You don't know the struggles.
I'll even show you how they use one, right? I'll even show you how they use one, right? So I'm going to show you a photo and how you use it. Right, this is what we grew up with. This is memories, all right. I'd buy one. The smell of tapes, man. There was nothing better than going into a video shop back in the day, and you could smell the film. Seriously, nothing better.
I remember the smell of the places because they would have popcorn, they would have candy. It was they would have all the tapes lined up, all in separate sections, sci-fi, action,
There
and
you
all
go.
that. And then you'd have
So
that
you
one
got your
area where you
little
get some treats.
label. So you've got your little label, right? So there was different types of tapes. The ones that you got in the video shop, you couldn't record over unless you stuck a piece of paper in them, but you get into trouble for doing that because it was their tape and you were only renting it. But when you got your own, you got to record. So you put your little label on it, and you'd stick it in, and then with some you'd have to set the timer, and then when the movie began, then you press record. Then later on, then when they got a little bit more sophisticated, you could actually set the timer when you wanted it to automatically record, so you didn't have to be in the room, which was a big deal back then, right? But oh man, you don't even know the struggles we had when you got a bad tape and you had to try put it back in focus and all of this, and sometimes you'd rent a video from a video shop, and someone that had rented it the time before you had absolutely fecked the tape up, right? So you'd have to bring it back and hope it was open to get another copy, because they only got a certain amount of copies of tapes in that you could rent. It was great, man. Nah, seriously, man, I miss video shops. Really do. Brings back memories.
Here's a funny thing. I remember when Fox, back in '96, I remember they would go through this as a commercial, and this is when they had the Fox Tuesday night movie. And I remember they were showing a showcase of Betamax. Yeah, that's another episode. They were showing a showcase of Fox Tuesday night movies, and for a split second, they showed Doctor Who, and it was basically Paul McGann pushing his hand through the sliding glass door, and then you saw the TARDIS going into the courtroom, which was taken from Trial of a Time Lord. And I kept seeing this, and I was just like, "There's no way they're doing a movie on Doctor Who." And I said, "I think I just saw," but I saw it twice. So I said, in one night, I took my VCR tape, ran it, and just hit record and let it run the gauntlet. And I sat through the whole thing looking for that Fox Tuesday night commercial, and surely enough, it was Doctor Who. It was Paul McGann. And I was just like, damn it.
Yeah. What else? We got more comments there. There's also a different reboot, okay, from the 90s as well. Okay, same here with Dungeons and Dragons. For years, all I knew was a bunch of people getting transported to another world. Bobby says, I first saw Into the Labyrinth on Nickelodeon.
Oh,
I later discovered there were two more series.
And not only that, I remember, I think it was one of the first TV series per se. Like there was technically like an original from Nickelodeon, The Third Eye, and those are filmed in the UK, from what I remember. It was about these kids with these psychic abilities.
Yeah.
But I just remember that. Oh yeah, it was filmed in Great Britain. I'm like, really? Okay.
Cinnamon had one, and he says I inherited a lot of old stuff like the huge box, bulky TVs, SNES, and a VHS. Yeah, the bulky TVs were the best, man. I still say it to this day. Did those tapes, head cleaners tapes, actually work? Well, if you got the expensive one, they did. If you bought the cheap ones out of the dollar stores or the pound shops back in their day, the cheap ones would have ruined your video head. But the real good ones, yes, did work. When you actually took out the tape, you could see the dirt on the head, because a lot of dust got into those recorders, unfortunately. So you had to clean them all the time. But yeah, once they were clean and you got the proper one, they clean pretty well. Chris says there, the smell of a Blockbuster. Yeah, they're memories, man. We had Blockbuster over here. We had another one called Extra Vision. That was sad because that was the last one to hold out, and then that
Is
closed
that for
down.
real, Bobby? Did that tracking control really help?
No, it didn't, man. Let's be honest. Some of the things that they put on it were a bit of a fucking gimmick, weren't they? I miss the small independent videotape fireplaces. Same here, the little shops. 8 hour super long play record tapes, lol. I remember them. Peter Harrington says hi all. Heavy though, yeah, they were heavy because they were well built, man. They were proper sturdy. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, no problem, Christian. You go ahead. You could buy a video head cleaner tape. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. But you'd have to get a really good one and not get the cheap ones out of the pound shops because they never really worked properly. But that's what I watched Independence Day on, was VHS. That's what I watched. You know, all of the movies before that. All on VHS. And you know what I used to love about VHS? You'd have the cinema trailer, and then you'd have the VHS trailer, and then the international trailer. You'd have 3 different trailers for a movie. But yeah, man, the voiceover. Do you remember the bloke that did the voiceover for most of the videos, for most of the movies? Hey, no. You know, he put on that mad voice. Deadly, man. I dropped my niece's I dropped my niece's VHS of The Lion King one time, broke the top half way off. Oops, yeah, the tapes were a bit not great. Season 2 and 3 of Into the Labyrinth can be found on These Misty Isles channel, says Darren Bradley. There you go.
Do you guys have Pluto TV?
Pluto TV.
Yes.
I've heard of it, but I don't know if we have it here, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I know we have it in the States, but if anybody wants to check out in the UK, I don't know if it's going to work. But very happy about Pluto TV because essentially it's it is an app. It's a streaming app. However, for the most part, each TV show has its own channel, including Doctor Who. Now they play Doctor Who classic, not the new stuff, but they play the classic stuff. And not only that, it's commercial. And the thing is, you can't pick which episode. So whatever episode's playing that day for like Dukes of Hazzard or Dallas or MASH or Doctor Who, it's running on there, but you get to watch Doctor Who. So people have been asking me, where can I watch classic stuff? That's the best place that we have, or at least here in the States, is Pluto TV. They have their own channel. So you can just thumb down the channel if you just want to watch this show, or, let's just say they do have it from the UK, Coronation Street. It would just play Coronation Street. There would be commercials in between, but you get to at least see Coronation Street on their terms, and it's free. So they don't sponsor me, but I usually tell people go to Pluto TV if you want to watch classic Who. Again, you don't pick. It's not like you can start from 1963 and then go forward, or pick, I want to start with Tom Baker. They're going to run the episode, but at least you get to see classic Who without paying a red cent. It's cool. And all you have to do is put up with the commercials, which is worth it to me sometimes.
Peter says, we had a video camcorder. Got it. It was heavy with the battery to be carried around. Yeah, the batteries were bleeding like bricks. They were
like 10 pounds at least for these cameras. These were bulky. It was like carrying. It's like carrying a small child on your shoulder.
It was. Cinnamon says, I constantly remember seeing that anti-privacy ad. Yeah, the FBI warning to copy this as a copy. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, but seriously, man, that's what I loved about. And then, as I said, your man that did the voiceovers for the trailers always had a cool voice. And Unsolved Mysteries, I love Unsolved Mysteries. That was a great show. And
Yeah, we
then
also, what was it? John Walsh had America's Most Wanted. Hey, what a an actual TV show that not only was entertaining, but it helped you catch criminals and and
yeah,
a lot of those people so like, yeah, I saw him the other day, so they would turn him in. I'm like, oh,
yeah. Do you know
cool.
what I used to actually love watching? There was a show I think they had on Sky 1 years ago, but I think they showed it in America as well. America's Dumbest Criminals.
Yeah, they
Absolutely the
still have
funniest
it.
bleeding thing.
Yeah, they would get these B and C celebrities, and
Yeah,
they would talk about how dumb these people were, and just like, well, that's a catch, but I guess. And I watched it for a while because that
that's
was
it.
dumb. All right.
And the last comment of the night from Peter here says the early video star recorders were big, huge click down button and noises. Yeah, reminiscing has been good, I actually have to say. But that's where we're at now, folks. We are finished for the night. So what I'll do is I'll get Christian to do his usual shout outs, and then I will do mine, and we will wrap it up there for the night. But I want to thank you all for taking part in the chat. We really do appreciate his taking part. And yeah, really enjoyed this. Maybe we'll go down memory lane again next week. We'll have a think about that. So, Christian, without further ado, give your shout outs there, mate.
Sure. No, I think I'm able to put some in the chats now. Hang on a second. Yeah, I think I will post in the chat. There we go. So there you go. I posted our YouTube channel tonight at 11 p.m. UK. If you can stay up that late, 3 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. my time, which is Eastern Standard. Tonight we are going to be interviewing Gavin Verhey of Wizards of the Coast. Apparently, this is going to be sponsored by our friends over at therathole.ca. My good friend Dave Chapman will be hosting, and we will be talking about the upcoming card set from Magic the Gathering that will include the upcoming Universes Beyond Doctor Who set for the Magic the Gathering game. So that is scheduled to be released, I believe, mid-October, October 13th. And we'll be interviewing them to talk about the gaming itself. So the gentleman's from Wizards of the Coast, and looks like Magic the Gathering will be entering the Whoniverse, and we're excited to see what they're going to be doing. That's tonight at 11 o'clock on the YouTube channel. Don't forget our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Traveling Tardis, and you can check us up on Twitter, Instagram. You can just look up the Traveling Tardis and just find our logo, and you'll be able to see it right there. So we're excited about what this game is going to be all about. I've never played. Have you ever played Magic the Gathering? I've never played it before.
No.
So
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so that's my questions. Are going to be like, tell us a little bit about Magic the Gathering, and they're actually going to have a card implementation for Doctor Who. And we're going to see never before seen pictures of it. We're going to be showing those tonight. If you're a big Magic the Gathering fan, definitely want to come on it and join the club and see how everything works on the state side of things. So, Noel, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for the chats. Peter, Darren, Jamie, JWC Reviews, Cinnamon, everybody who's been joining us, Mark, and I don't think unknown Mark, and I don't think, do we ever get that person who was that Kim? I don't think she came back, but if Kim, if you're still out there, we hope to see you again in the next episode. So there we go.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on, Christian. Really appreciate it. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
And you enjoy the rest of your day, my friend. Take care.
You too. You too. Anyway, thank you for the nice comments in the chat. People saying the nice nostalgia stream. We will do another one. And we'll talk about all of those things that we grew up with. There's other stuff that we could talk about. Maybe next week we could tell you all about the Walkman, the Sony Walkman, and to give you instructions on how to use that. And maybe we'll talk about some old telephones where you actually had to dial the number in, right? And use a twisty thing. You wouldn't have a clue how to use an old phone. Anyway, well, some of us wouldn't. A lot of us actually would. But no, I really didn't enjoy this. But what did I want to say? Yeah. So I have started the first episode of Ghostbusters, the game remastered on the Irish Geek. The first episode is up there for anybody if you just want to take a look at it. I've been playing the Ghostbusters game. We've only done the one episode, so we'll do another one very shortly. We've also been playing eFootball for anybody as well on the Irish Geek. So we're doing Ghostbusters and eFootball at the moment. There'll be plenty of other games happening on the Irish Geek. Also, my Manchester United channel, Noel, the Red Devil. I will be streaming there tomorrow at 3:30. It's officially the first game of the pre-season against Leeds United. So I will be doing a live stream and reacting to the game live and giving my thoughts and opinions during the game. So if you're a football fan, even if you're not a Man United fan, and you're not a Leeds United fan, but you like football, if you want to support me, it's Noel the Red Devil. And then, of course, you can catch me here on the Tardis Zone now. Next week, I'm going to be obviously addressing the whole channel and talking to you all because of recent events that have recently happened within Doctor Who and the recent events that have happened at the BBC. A lot of us backstage have been talking, and we think the time has come to do something in relation to all of the nonsense and the cover up and all of this other bull that's been going on lately. So we'll be having a little chat next week about it because we've got to make some decisions here on this channel. And as you have been a big part of this channel, I want you to be part of the process if we decide to do certain things. Because, as I said, your input is most valuable to me. But we're going to have a chat soon because, there's no way I can support BBC with what's going on. And remember, in the Doctor Who part of it, we've had warning signs of what direction the show is going to be going in, and we've kind of all hoping that it still do well. But the latest scandal that the BBC is facing has kind of, to me, made up my mind that I personally cannot move forward by supporting the BBC. Now, I'm not telling people what to do, but we are going to have a little chat and we're going to come to certain decisions, and we're going to come to those decisions together. But I am not, like a lot of people out there, very happy right now with certain people. I'm not happy with the BBC for starters, but I'm not happy with people connected to our TV show either. They've shown their true colours. I'm not getting into it because that as I said, it's a conversation for another day. But all I will say is that I'm not supporting BBC moving forward, and that has implications, and we're going to have to talk about those implications together, and we're going to have to talk about where we go moving forward on this channel. And as I said, I want you guys to be part of that process. So we'll do it together. We'll talk. We'll debate, and then we'll come to a decision and a consensus together, and we'll move forward together like we've always done. Listen, I am not going anywhere. I want to make that clear just in case anybody out there is worried, right? Not going anywhere, right? The channel is going to remain. Okay? It's just we've got things to talk about. And, you know, it's just, you will understand next week. Some of you already know because you're on Twitter, right? You know what the situation is, right? And you know what I'm talking about. So you guys know where I'm going with this, but the rest of them don't. So I'll explain everything next week, and explain me reasonings behind what I want to do, and hopefully yous will come along with me. Maybe agree. I'm not, as I said, it's a conversation for next week. I don't want to say too much right now. But no, you don't have to worry. There's nothing is happening in the channel. The channel's going to be here. We're still going to be doing the streams that we're doing. We just need to have a bit of a chat next week about where we're going with this channel, because I can't support the BBC. So therefore, if I can't support the BBC, then you know what that means, folks. And without even saying it, I think you know what that means. So things will probably change on the channel and stuff like that is what I'm trying to say. But we'll get into it next week in a bit more detail, and we'll talk together, because that's what we do here on this channel as a community. We will talk together, and you guys will obviously give you our opinions once you know what we're talking about, and you will tell me what you think. And then, as I said, we'll come to a decision together. But don't worry, I'm sticking around. Okay? So don't be worrying. So you can catch me here on the Tardis Zone. I will be doing a stream with Lee on, I think it's been set for Thursday now, and we're bringing on a special guest. So remember, we're going to be talking those hard-hitting social issues that we can't talk about on YouTube because they're a bunch of bleeding, censoring idiots. But you can catch me on Rumble on the Tardis Zone there. Myself and Lee will be joined for a guest. We will be talking the LGB Alliance and the recent court decision, and we will have someone on that actually Lee says has a lot of knowledge on it. So we'll be talking about that. I think that's set for Thursday. Obviously, we've got the stream tomorrow, Wednesday, with Queen Charlotte and hopefully PD Rich. And again, come and join us for that, the usual time. And then Friday, as we always do, Friday night contact. We did do a member stream as well. If you didn't catch that, go on and check it out. We did a Beetlejuice 2 special. And we will have another member stream. And then obviously Friday night contact, 9 o'clock, the usual time. And come and join me for that. So as I said, streams are still going to be here. It's just concerning when we get closer to a certain anniversary, we got to have a bit of a chat, because as I said, right now I cannot support the BBC, and to be quite honest with you, this should be the last straw for everybody. In fairness, this should be the last straw. This should be the one that finishes the BBC, to be quite honest with you. And I think people need. I did a stream on Twitter, and I said this on my stream, and I'm gonna say it here, right? How many more times the BBC cover up or allow stuff like that to happen on the premises before people cop on and say enough is enough? In fairness, the Jimmy Savile scandal should have finished the BBC, but they survived. Right? We named the other names on Twitter, right, which I'm not going to name here, but as everybody knows about, the Jimmy Savile one is the high-profile one. I can mention his name, but I won't mention the rest. Right? But there were other celebrities that were brought onto the premises that did things on the premises that they shouldn't have been doing, right? That incident alone, all of that, when that was blown up and the investigation was done and we found out how bad it was, that should have killed off the BBC. But they went on the charm offensive, and then all of this pandering that they've been doing for the last few years is basically to basically tell their audience, oh, look, we've changed. You know, the Savile thing was regrettable, but we've changed. And don't worry, we've cleared out the swamp. Well, they clearly haven't cleared out the swamp, because breaking news before I even came on, by the way, is apparently more people have come forward about this TV presenter, which will not be named because, you know, people are going to get sued if they name, and people have been naming this presenter. These are idiots. These are going to be sued. Right? So I cannot support BBC any longer. Thank you, Cam's Crash Courses. I'll see you again soon. PD says, hopefully this time. Yes, sure. I'll send you the link either way. You can let me know. Oh, I think you're talking about in relation to the BBC. You should finish them. I agree with you on that one. I agree with you. They completely changed. It never ends with the beep. Exactly. So there comes a point in time where us as consumers and stuff, and the British public need to ask themselves this question as well, right? When do you stop your support for the BBC? When is it a step too far? When do you say enough is enough? So, you know, I can't say it on here, but if you go and see me Twitter stream that I did, which I'll be pinning back up onto my Twitter account soon, go and listen to it and hear exactly what I say, because I actually don't hold back on that stream. So if you want to hear what I actually truly think, because I have to be careful here on YouTube, if you want to hear what I actually said last night, go and check out that Twitter stream. Do you know what? Actually, I'll even make it easier for you. I will give it to you. It's been viewed. The last time I checked it, it's got over 150 odd views, so it's doing very well on Twitter. So Pete, you haven't monetized Twitter, because I'd probably be doing okay on Twitter for cash. But I'll get it up and I'll put it in the chat, and if you can access it and watch it, please do. Please do, because after I did that stream, a lot of people in the messages were sending me messages saying, "No, you're right. We have to do something now. We can't stand idly by and let this continue to happen. And we shouldn't stand idly by and let this to continue to happen. It's absolutely disgraceful, folks. How many mistakes do BBC have to make before people and the British public realise that they're unfit for purpose now? Right? The whole organisation is rotten to the core. Right? And remember, right, folks, there were cover-ups done years ago. Right? So, you know, don't think that the BBC have changed. Oh, they haven't changed. It's still a cesspit. And it always will be. And the only way you clear out the swamp is by getting rid of them all. You've got to clear that swamp out. You've got to get rid of them all. It's absolutely disgraceful. We can't keep allowing this to happen and stand idly by and consume BBC procs. And that goes for merchandise as well, right? That's the thing. And that's the way you have to look at it. When you're buying their merchandise, right, or you're consuming their TV shows, right, you're supporting the BBC. And I'm sorry, but it's time that the BBC pay for their crimes, right? They have to pay for what they've done. And the only way of making them pay is by punishing them, right? And how do you punish them? You legally get rid of your TV license, right? That's what you do. Right, there it is there, right? And the title of the title of a BBC a haven for rumors and the word that you can't use on YouTube, the P word, right? That's the name of it there. I've sent you the link there. I'm about to pin it back onto my Twitter account now anyway. So that's what I'm going to do. It's got 176 viewers. So if you want to go, it's an hour and 21 minutes long. This is me uncensored. Yeah, this is me not giving a fuck and calling them out on Twitter. And I only did it a Twitter stream because I knew I'd get away with it on Twitter because Elon Musk actually reminded everybody about the BBC's cover-up of the Jimmy Savile scandal. So I knew I could get away with it on Twitter. So if you want to hear what I really think, right, and what my opinions are, I would go and I'd watch that stream if I were you guys. And that's the way I will be on Rumble, by the way. I didn't do it on Rumble because I wanted to do it on Twitter because I wanted everybody to see it, right? So go and watch it. That'll be the version and all you'll get on Rumble, because YouTube, you've got to play the game on YouTube if you want to survive. And I know some people refuse to do that, right? And then they bitch and moan about their videos getting demonetized and all of this. If you play the game, that won't happen as often, right? You can change certain words and you can actually, word things in a different way and you can get around it. Simple as that, right? But if you want to know without any chains wrapped around me, go and watch that. I'm not telling you a word of a lie. A lot of people actually text me after the fact and said, yeah, no, we agree with you. We have to do something. And we do really need to do something. Okay? It's time to bring down the BBC once and for all. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So we'll have that convo next week. But for now, I would say enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll talk to you soon on here. And look after yourselves, right, folks? It's just be Tardis time. Just be careful, will you? Because he has lawyers, right? And they'll be checking all social media. So Google. So just be careful. It won't be me. I'm just letting you know. Google might hit you with something there. So just be careful. I know what you tried to do there, and it's very clever, but just be careful because Google are asses and YouTube are asses. Remember, BBC will be monitoring channels and all to see who's talking what crap, and so will solicitors. So just be careful, folks, because this is what I said. A lot of people have been posting the photographs and been saying stuff. Yeah, all of those accounts are going to be absolutely sued to the high end if they can worm their way out of this, right? So you have to be careful. That's why I haven't named them. That's why I saw the photographs. But like everybody else, we can't post the photograph, right? But the people that have posted the photograph, they're getting sued. So you have to be careful. But I will say this, though. just one final thing in relation to Noel Clarke. Isn't it startling that someone can go to a newspaper and tell a load of lies about Noel Clarke and it gets printed and his name and shamed and then his career's ruined? Yet there seems to be evidence to back up that a certain TV presenter out there sending photographs and receiving photographs, and yeah, nobody can name that person. Lawyers are getting involved, and there seems to be now the person involved has come out and said, "Oh, it's bullshit." But now, as I said before we came on live, apparently other people have come forward now. So, yeah. So I'm done. I'm done. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Have a good one. And don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you haven't subscribed to the Irish Geek, by the way, because we're nearly 400 subscribers, so if you could actually get me over 400 subscribers, even if you're not a big fan into gaming videos, but you could just support me anyway, give the channel a sub, the Irish Geek, on YouTube there, get me over 400 subs. And we'll be doing great there. As I said, Ghostbusters the game. We'll be doing other games as well. If you just want to check it out. So if you're a Ghostbusters fan and you want to see me play the remastered version of the Ghostbusters game, which a lot of fans claim to be Ghostbusters 3, which after, getting into the game, I would have to agree. Yeah, go and watch me first stream, and I'll have a second stream up in the next day or two, hopefully, if I can fit it in somewhere, or maybe over the weekend. But yeah, go and check it out anyway. I'll see you later, folks. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye.